just like the movies. Yeah, you bleed just to know you're alive. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you.
Alright, what is going on? We're back, episode number 20 of the Basement Podcast. We have my father, George Norris, on. How you doing, Dad?
I'm doing just super awesome.
Oh, yeah?
It's a great night, yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know. We're going to kind of just... I don't really have any notes. We're kind of just going to go on the fly. Talk about your childhood. Because I feel like I haven't even talked to you that much about it.
Well, I was born in Boston. I lived there till I was 4. Moved here to Ipswich. It was quite a change from city life, having a big backyard and hanging out. I went to school. It's no longer there. It's called Dickory Dock. It's on Jeffreys Neck Road. Went there for 2 years. After that, I went to Schatzel School, which is now condos. That was a good time. I was able to walk to that school. That was about a 5-10 minute walk. Continued there. Went to Winthrop School, which is still in place now. Walked to that as well. Went there till 6th grade. It's a little different now. Now it's only to 5th grade. I went there till 6th grade. After that, I went to the junior high, the 7th and 8th, which is now the town hall. That was a change from elementary school. It was a little tougher. The classes, it just was more structured. It was adjustment. And then finished the Ipswich High School and graduated in 1979. Had a great neighborhood growing up. A lot of families. A lot of good friendships developed. It was a lot different than now. I mean, we used to do a lot of stuff in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Big thing you used to do back then, like street hockey. You probably don't see that much now.
Yeah.
So it was a great place to grow up in Ipswich.
Yeah. Okay. Now we'll save a lot of the other stuff toward the end. Okay, now let's start with when I was born. Wait, so how did you? All right, ready? How'd you meet Mom? Because I've already heard this story, but like just for people to hear. Don't drag it out too much, but just generally like.
Okay, I'll make it pithy. Okay, I met your mother on a blind date. She was working at the Millstone Restaurant, which is no longer in town. It's where the Potter House Village is now. She was working with Shannon, who was dating my younger brother, Josh, at the time. And Amy saw Josh and asked her, Shannon, if he had any brothers. And she said, yes, he does. So Shannon gave me her number, and I called, and we went on a date, and it worked out well. So we it clicked. So we continued dating for 4 years, and she lived in Magnolia. I lived on Jeffreys Neck Road in Ipswich, and it went well. I mean, Josh was living with me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 kids from a previous marriage, and had custody of them. So Josh was a big help because I had to go to work early at that time. So I needed someone to help me out. And Josh was just recently graduated from college, and he wasn't really settled in anywhere yet.
Yeah.
So that was a perfect situation for him to come and help me out. So it really it worked out for both of us, and we did that for 4 years. And then until Amy and I get married in 1996.
Okay. All right, and then you have me in 2001. I don't know. I kind of want to talk about like what we used to do. Okay, so what was our family? What was one of our biggest family routines as you can remember?
Family routines.
Or like little like weird like niche things about us. Well, not niche things. I don't know. If
Something
they
we
make
did
sense.
consistently.
Yeah. Well, things that I might not even remember from like the age like 1 to like 4. Because I kind of remember stuff for like 4 on out.
Well, I think what we did early on, every Friday night, we'd get Riverview Pizza.
Yeah.
Then go to the Dairy Queen. That was our Friday night ritual for many years.
Yeah. Anyone that came here, I know you like after Little League or whatever, we would get Riverview. I know Max is gonna remember this if Max watches this. He always used to love to say like we hold hands and do grace.
Yes.
And then we go get ice cream. And then obviously if it was a sleepover, you get Marty's the next morning. I wish Marty's was still there, but
that was good, Maxie, right? That was life-changing, wasn't it, buddy? Huh? That was good stuff. Yes.
Okay. But what was like some of the weird things that like I know Mom could probably talk about this when I have her on, but like what was like weird things that I had when I was a kid? Like not weird things, but like kind of like unique things that like you had to do for me to, you know, do certain tasks, if that makes sense. Like you know,
unique
like
things.
Can you think of any like weird things? Not like weird things. I don't know how to say it. Like unique things, like
that we had you do when you were younger.
To like do tasks. Like I know, like Mom always said she used to have to drive me around like forever to.
Oh.
I'm talking about like stuff like that.
Stuff to try to.
If there isn't anything that you think.
Well,
of,
driving around reminds me. Yeah. When Jack was young, he was really tired. He was quite the tyrant. He was really crying. He was very difficult at times. So the only way we get him to sleep is we'll put him in the car, and we would have to drive for half an hour to 45 minutes till he fell asleep in the car. And sometimes the bumpier the road, the easier he fell asleep. So if anyone knows Winthrop Street, which is basically goes from Topsail Road over to Highland Street in Hamilton, that is one unpaved bumpy road. So we would have to drive up and down that probably 2 or 3 times to get him to fall asleep. In the process, probably shorten the lifespan of the shocks of our car because that was the only way to get him to sleep, because he would howl. He would howl real loud, and it would be quite disruptive to everyday life. So for our own sanity, we would have to do that to get him to fall asleep.
Okay.
And sometimes we'd have to leave you in the car once you fell asleep, because if we shut the car off and tried to move you,
I would wake up.
You would wake up and would be back to square one, screaming, yelling, and face turning red. And it was, difficult because we thought maybe the neighbors would call the police thinking we were abusing you or something. You were so loud. So yeah, we would go to those extremes just to get you to fall asleep, so we could try to maintain some sanity.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Another thing that we did a lot, I remember this. I don't remember how often we went, but I felt like we went down to the Cape a lot. So there's this hotel. I know, Michael, you've been there. I don't know if you're going to be watching this or not. Michael have come down, but mainly just family. How often did we used to go to the Cove? I felt like we used to go for a week in the summer and a week in the winter. I know we used to go for a week in the winter.
Yeah, we would typically get a week in the winter. I think it was usually the week. If we could, we would do it like the week after Christmas. The summer, once in a while, we would get a week in the summer.
Yeah.
Those are much harder. We typically in the summer we would go down, get a weekend. We'd stay there for a couple of days, because Amy's family we have that annual family get together down in Yarmouth.
Mm-hmm.
So this we would get a night or two around that time of year when we would get together. But that place is very difficult to get a weekend. It books up quickly, and but that is a great place to go. Yeah, we've been doing this since you were born.
Yeah.
Or before.
Okay. Another popular thing we did was bike riding. When did that start? Like when did we start doing family bike rides? Because I remember being like on the back and then finally being able to like attach my little like
trailer bike.
Yeah, trailer
Right.
thing.
Right.
And we did that for a while.
Yeah.
Was that was on Sundays though, right?
Yeah, we would take typically on Sunday we go to church, come home, have lunch.
Yeah.
And get out on our bikes and we'd take a bike ride, and you would have a little seat that was attached to the back of the bike at first. But then probably when you were I would say maybe four or five, we had the trailer bike, and we would attach that to my bike, and sometimes you would pedal and sometimes you wouldn't. I was just and I would pedal away and do keep moving.
Yeah.
So we do that. Yeah, I mean, one of our favorite bike rides would be from where we live in Able Ave, go down Able Ave on the Bush Hill on the Topsail Road, down Long Meadow Drive, and then take the Fire Road off of Intervale Way over to Pine Swamp, and then down Pine Swamp, Linebrook Road, Washington Street, back on the Topsail Road. So it's a nice, ideal 5-mile loop without really having to cross the road. So it was a fun time. We once in a while we don't do them like we used to, but we try to
still do it.
yeah.
All right, let's go into when I turned 6 and stuff. So I remember the first sport I played was baseball. Obviously, what was one of your first memories of baseball? Maybe about not even about me, but maybe about people that you saw. I know you always talk about Max when you first saw him, right? Was that in kindergarten or first grade?
Kindergarten, yeah. Well, Max, I have to admit, when I first saw you, I thought you were a wise guy. I remember, I don't know what team we were the Indians.
Yeah.
I forget. Were you?
It was just me. All I remember is me, Ben.
I remember
Aaron
you
Ross.
playing third base, Max, and someone made an error, and you gave the kid such an earful. I was like, "You dummy! How come you didn't catch the ball?" Or something. You said something to him, and I was like, "Who is this kid?" I couldn't believe you was getting on him like that. But I've come to know you, Max. I love you. You were a riot. It was so much fun with Babe Ruth, and actually when you were on our team.
We're saving it. Save that for later.
Okay.
We'll get to that. All right. Obviously 6th grade too. All right, so one of my favorite shows growing up, obviously, SpongeBob. And for the longest time, he didn't like SpongeBob. He thought it was just some dumb show. And obviously, if you know him, he obviously doesn't think that anymore. What do you remember exactly? I'm pretty sure it was in the winter. But do you remember what year it was or how old I was when you changed your mind about SpongeBob?
You were, I think you just turned 5, so that would be 2006. Yep. We used to sit in a chair together and watch it, and been hooked ever since.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
What's your favorite? Name 5 of your favorite SpongeBob episodes.
Oh boy, you gotta narrow it down to 5.
Or just 5 that might.
Well, yeah, 5 that come in my head. I love it. Bodyguard.
Yeah.
I love that one. I love it when they melt Man Ray out of the mayonnaise.
yeah.
I think I love pre-hibernation week.
Pre-hibernation.
Yeah. I love it when SpongeBob's gonna take the driving lesson from the shark.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Geez, there's so many I could run through my head. I think I just saw it that long ago. I love it when they're open forever.
What about the shoes? Why am I forgetting the net guy? The Strangler. Did you
Yeah. That was my best buddy. He was supposed to. He was with the Tattletale Strangler. But that was when SpongeBob said, "Oh, you're the best bodyguard anyone could have." He was driving him nuts the whole time. I like Chocolate, the one.
Chocolate one.
The Sound of Chocolate. Yeah, and guys, chocolate. The guy's chasing him, maniac chasing him around the whole episode, and they finally, I'm gonna buy all your chocolate. And then they rent the restaurant, and Squidward couldn't even get into the restaurant. What do you mean I can't get in? No, you get two gentlemen renting the whole restaurant for the night.
Yeah, the 2 ladies. So how long you
the older daughter with the black skeleton sitting in the chair. That was classic. I love it.
Yeah. All right, name like another like top 5 of your favorite like scenes from SpongeBob. Try to recall them too. Like try to like quote them. Lines.
My favorite lines. When SpongeBob says, "Patrick, I'm confused." Yes, I am. Oh, geez, Jack, you put me on the spot.
I am. You should know these. All the time, we literally just say SpongeBob lines all the time.
I know. It's just when you ask me to think of them, I can't think of them. Oh, boy. Hash slinging slasher. That's a great one. We're going to keep singing that. Cash ringing hasher, whatever that was. That was, every time we came up with a different name. I don't know.
Okay, all right, fine. Last thing. What's the 3 steps? What's the 3 signs of the hash slinging slasher? If you don't know this, Dad, come on.
The lights will flicker. Green slime.
Nope. No,
The phone will ring.
Yeah.
And nobody's on the other line.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it'll be foggy out there, and the bus will pull up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Heading into we'll just head into middle school just because that's just easier. Okay. What was your favorite sports team year that I was a part of? Like, what was like your favorite sports team? You think the team that like you can factor in like how well we did together and just like the memories.
Oh, no doubt the 7th grade team. 7th grade team was a lot of fun. For 2 reasons. I mean, back with all his buddies playing again. 6th grade was a brutal year. That was a frustrating year in Little League, and I'll leave it at that.
Wait, was that John Winthrop?
John Driscoll. That was. You remember this one, Max? The wiffle balls. Remember that? Yeah, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Quite embarrassing. So that was a frustrating season. So to follow it up with 7th grade, being back with all the good friends was great to start knowing you're coming into a season doing that. But as the season unfolded, we were a good team. We played well, and ended up going to Springfield for I don't know, Eastern Mass Championship. I don't know what the title was, but that was so much fun going out there. I mean, the motel was kind of a semi-dive, but it was fun. It was had a pool and the kids had fun, and we had plenty of pizza, and it was a fun time. We're disappointed we should have won the first game. I think it was a real bad call that
At the plate.
Dan had him tagged out at the plate, and he got called safe, and we lost that, but it was a double elimination, so we had another game after that, and I think we lost that as well. So, but it was fun. That was a fun season. What a great way to end it with going out to Springfield and getting to just know some of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Josh O'Brien's dad cooking between games. I remember he had a little portable grill going, and that was fun. That was just a great experience.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What was your favorite year for my high school sports? Obviously, I only played basketball. Baseball would have been so much fun if people kept playing.
Right, if they kept playing.
And then also ditch the coaches too. Like, I think that's one of my biggest things from high school that just annoyed me. Is that if like we had like Bill Themis, like you, Kevin Murphy, like just everyone like that we had like help out, like it would have been so much better.
Yeah, I think it would have been fun, but that's the course of growing up. You just parents are involved till 8th grade, and then the high school coaches take over, and you have no say in that. And you just hope they do well with them. You hope they listen to the boys. I mean, I think value their input and help them be the best athletes they can be. So.
Yeah. But what was your favorite season?
My favorite season probably was 9th grade. 2 reasons. One reason is, I mean, you had a good team. I think had 16-2. I think it was. Those 2 losses were really close. I think you played well as a team. I think Coach Downing was great. I think it was exciting for him because he was so like baby-faced new coach. He
Yeah.
he was so young, and his first season, and I think it was just fun getting involved. I was able to keep the book a couple of times, and it was a great team to follow, and they had fun, and they played well as a team. It was kind of a continuation of 8th grade, because 8th grade team had a good season, and kind of kept that continuity. I mean, we didn't. The only keeping him on that team was Jason, I think, right?
Jason, no, he started on the team, and then
Went up to JV?
he started doing the half and half thing, which was just unfair to him.
Yeah, it would have been
Like,
nice to have
that's
him
one
down.
thing I've reflected on. Like, Jason, if you're watching this, I've misworded this a couple times. I've finally come to the conclusion that I don't think it was, like, I know, like, the typical thing is that, like, we could point fingers or whatever for, like, why we didn't do good in varsity and stuff, and sometimes just, like, it's just Ben and Jason and the stuff. And that's the thing, is that it's Ben and Jason. It's them together. It's not,
maybe it did,
when they play by themselves, like, individually in different lineups, they're great. But for some reason, I don't know why, it's just when
Was
you
it a bad
guys
mix?
when you
Maybe.
guys play together, it's just a bad mix.
Yeah.
And it's not like
I think
It's just
they're
something
similar players, they're similar approaches. I think,
yeah.
and and that's. I mean, if that is the case, I think sometimes
And we just could never figure it
Yeah,
out, though. That was the problem. is
and
that
you
it
hope-
wasn't even your guys' fault. It
Right.
was just we couldn't
Yeah.
find out a way to organize the
Yeah.
lineups in a way that, like, if you guys both played, like, obviously, like, overlapped as little as possible besides for, like, the last quarter or whatever, I just think it would have been so much better.
Yeah.
Just because you guys were both, like, probably the two best scorers. I mean,
Oh
we
yeah,
could say, like,
yeah.
two best
They were.
scorers.
Yep. Absolutely.
It was just hard because
Yeah.
you guys were on the same, like, at the floor at the same time.
Right.
and it
Right.
just
So you had
balled them
similar players on the floor at
Yeah.
the same time. Yeah, and that's if you're a spectator watching that, you just not much you can do about that. You just that's the tricky thing about coaching. You just got to determine what
Works and what
lineups work and what does not, and figure that out and then put it into practice.
Yeah.
So I think we've had some. I think even the JV. I think we've had some
That's
good
it.
games.
Well,
we were in most games. I think I always find there was like one quarter that would just wouldn't
Well,
play
that was
well,
the
and
most
you just
consistent
and you find
Yeah.
yourself down before you know it by 10 points, and it's just you're struggling just to
But
get
that's the
back.
problem that, like, I don't think, like, maybe it's just an Ipswich thing in general, but that's just it's just the discipline of, like, not, like, losing focus, because it's so easy to be like and that was the thing, is that, like, we just stupid possessions offensively that, like, I know, like, Ray's dad always talks about it, but, like, whatever, just wasting possessions. It's just being someone that you're not, and, like, just throwing away that possession, and it just happens that, like, that Georgetown game that we lost, it just happened that they were just hitting all these crazy shots and just made a
And
comeback.
sometimes that happens. I mean,
Yeah.
basketball. Sometimes you have certain nights. No matter what you throw up, it goes in. You can't explain
Yeah.
it. It just happens. Yeah, I just think. Possession. I think you got to find your role. I mean, I think every player, probably just like life, everybody has particular strengths, and acknowledge those strengths and stay within those parameters. Don't try to do something. I think like Ray's dad was saying, you practice that in practice, not during a game. Or don't try
Yeah.
to do something you're not strong in a game. Doesn't always work that way. But I think our kids, I think sometimes would get a little frantic. I think chaotic. And I think sometimes you're talking about bad possessions. I think that's a result of just a little bit of panicking. Because basketball is a quick thinking game. You gotta know what the next play is, and you can't hesitate on your decisions to pass, because before you know it, that window's closed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, obviously, you like to follow high school sports a lot. Who's been like one of the most impressive players that you've ever seen, like us face, or maybe you just seen in general, like that would be like in our league, or that would be
that would
like,
always
if-
be
in
always
theory-
a tough opponent.
In
Always be
in theory, if we would have to always go up against them.
Well, I guess first one I think about is Billy Whalen.
Yeah.
Billy was a great ball handler, great
I mean,
distributor.
the thing too is that we've been facing him since fifth
Right,
grade.
right. So
We've
he's in your
always-
mind because of that. Just the duration of facing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a heck of a player. And if he's hitting his threes, you're in trouble.
Mhm.
I think Hunter Lane.
Yeah.
He's a complete player. Just solid, great low post player. Good, just a good all around player. I think I like Spencer Pacey from Pentucket. I think he
Yeah.
is very good. I think he plays very calm, never plays in a rushed manner. Smart player, smooth. He's just smooth. He somehow gets to the basket when there seems like there's no room to do it. Who have we played? I thought Janowitz from Manchester, Essex. I think is it Bill? I think
No,
Bill.
no, it's Will. Will Janowitz.
Will Janowitz from Manchester, Essex. Another one, a Spencer Pacey type player, very smooth.
You already said Spencer.
I know. I said a Spencer Pacey type.
Oh,
player.
okay, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Okay, now we're gonna transition back to your time in high school. So did you play? I always forget. You played? Did you play baseball and basketball in high school?
No. I played basketball and ran and track and field.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay, how did you start? When did you start working out?
When I start working out,
Yeah.
well, I first dabbled in weights a little bit, probably in 1974, my 7th grade.
Okay.
You
I
know?
was like, what? 1974?
Yeah. So but I would live. If friends had weights, and we would do more like clean and jerk, and maybe other things. There wasn't really any kind of structured workouts.
Yeah.
It was just kind of,
Like freestyle.
haphazard lifting, whatever you want to call it. But it was just, so there was an interest there. But really regularly working out would have been, I'm just a guy. I'm kind of like Ramy and like dates. Summer of '77. That was the summer after my sophomore year in high school. I really started becoming dedicated to that all the time. And probably looking back incorrectly, I think I was probably doing the same workout 5 days in a row. Something was probably something dumb like that because I didn't know any better. But as time, I just read more and more. I really admire Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think I love his story. I got his book, Education of a Bodybuilder, which detailed working out, detailed diet, which, I've never really was strict about my diet. It could have been better, but I was very regimented in terms of training and just getting any knowledge I could from that book. So I really, 77, I started then and really been doing it ever since. As you get older, you don't do it as often or as long as you used to, or as much weight. Your joints won't tolerate it over time. You'll pay the price if you do. So I find that after a while, as you get older, or even before you get older, I recommend everybody out there lifting, check your ego at the door. Don't try to overdo it because you hurt joints. You could feel them for the rest of your life. So just train smart. Train smart, train effective. And you'll see the results if you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
At your peak, we're gonna just run through like simple stuff. You don't have to be like super specific, but just try to say generally what you thought the weight was and how many reps. We're just gonna go through I'm gonna go through each like body part kind of like squat / leg press.
My best leg press, I did 930 pounds 4 times.
Okay. Your best calf raise.
I was doing calf raise. I was doing I think 5 sets of 6 with like 650.
Okay. Let's see, curls.
My best curl I did was 230 pounds. Yeah.
Your best. I know you don't like this as much, but benching.
That's my weakness. Benching. My best bench was 330.
Okay.
Yeah. Compared to my other weights, I probably should have been benching more like 4 something, but just I don't know. Wasn't structured that way to bench strong. I don't know, my long arms or whatever. My shoulders. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
what was your best shoulder raise? Obviously, this is like super. This is a pretty hard one.
like a shrug. I never really did it.
Go like this. Like
Lateral raises. Lateral raises. I was doing sets of 10 with 50 pounds. Back in my peak, many years ago.
What was your best on your face. Did you do a lot of cleans or no?
Yeah, my clean and jerk. I used to do that. Yep.
Okay.
I stopped. Got away from that probably right after high school. My best clean and jerk was 220.
Okay. What's your best deadlift?
My best deadlift was 480.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Now, obviously, it's been an emotional week, and this is why I'm gonna post this, just because it's just we have to. Can I talk about what happened your senior year in high school?
I wasn't a senior. I just graduated.
You just graduated.
Yeah, I just graduated. January 11th, 1980, my house on Woods Lane burnt down, and I lost my dad and my younger brothers, Mark and Jonathan. We were a family of 6. I'm the oldest. And they were 13 and 14 at the time. My dad was 45.
All right. How was that at first? What was can you kind of try to as much as you can bring me through what happened that day? Just because I don't think I've ever asked.
I don't remember that day. I don't remember that day. That night, we had a birthday party for Will because his birthday is the 10th. I remember we had a birthday party that night. I just know, I think we all went to bed. I mean, I don't remember all the details of how that played out, but at 1 o'clock that morning, we had a smoke detector in the house, which we just put in 2 months earlier, so that saved probably all our lives. My brother Jonathan heard the smoke detector, and he was yelling to everybody to wake up, and he was downstairs. Will was upstairs with me in the attic on the top floor. Jonathan, Mark, and Josh shared a room just down below myself. All I remember was waking up and there was smoke in the house, having trouble breathing. And I remember opening up. I had a crank-out window, the Anderson's crank-out window. I opened that up. And it made once you open the window, you create a draft, so the smoke got worse, the heat got more intense. And I know Josh ran down the stairs to get out of the house, but Jonathan and Mark did not want to follow him. I'll never know. I don't know why they just did. They didn't do it, and they opened the windows as well down below, but they never made it out. I still think I don't know how I got out. I guess I was on the third floor. I opened up the window. It's probably about maybe 25 feet down to the ground, and I was yelling to a neighbor, get the ladder. There was a ladder in the back by the garage, asking me to get the ladder, but I couldn't wait for him to come back because the heat was so intense and the smoke was bad, and I was choking. And I pulled myself up on the peak of the roof. I sat on when you open the window, it comes out to the side, so it's almost like a lip. It offers you an opportunity to sit. So I was sitting on the open window, with my feet on the window sill, but it was so hot my feet were burning. So I pulled. I don't know how I just adrenaline takes over. I pulled myself up on the roof. I sat up. I don't know how I did it, but I got up. Luckily there was no snow on the roof, so I was able to transfer along the roof. I kind of crawled along the peak of the roof, and the roof came down onto a lower roof that Will was on. My brother Will was on, along with my mother, because their windows came out onto that lower roof that was basically a porch roof. So I was able to jump down onto that roof. Will just grabbed me to make sure my momentum didn't take me off that other roof, and we were able to jump down. The neighbors were on that other side of the house on the roof that we were on. We were able to, and at that point you're only about maybe 10 feet in the air, so we were able to jump down, and they caught us. And then Gina jumped out of the second floor window onto the ground, the same side of the house that we were on. She broke her foot in the process, but she got, praise God that she got out okay, because the fire literally started underneath her bedroom. So she was, from a proximity standpoint, she was the closest to the fire. So, it's just, it's a shocking night. You just, something that your life changes your life forever. You're kind of in a daze. You think it's a bad dream. You think it's something that didn't happen, and then as time goes on, you realize you realize, no, this is happening. This is real. So it was definitely a tragic night in a life that night you'll never forget. Oh.
Okay. Did that kind of motivate you to work out more, or like what did you exactly do? Because I mean, I don't know, like you either take like two steps, like there's like two directions to go. Like you can either like give into like, I don't know, like drugs and alcohol, or like you could take a different route just because of like trying to talk about like your emotions, at least going through like the days after it. Do you remember like how you felt, or just like what was going on?
All I wanted to do was go back in time. I wanted to go back to the family and the house that I had. I didn't want to. I mean, I wasn't suicidal. I didn't want to, but I just had sometimes no desire to get up and face a new day because a family's torn apart by what happened. I couldn't lift because all my weights were in the basement. I didn't have, and I didn't do the Y. There wasn't a Y in town at the time. So at that time that was an interruption to everything. I mean, working out and everything else. I think probably my therapy through that was punk rock. A good friend of mine, Kenny Chambers. Kenny, love you, buddy. Hope you're doing well, and hope to see you this summer. He got me into punk rock, and it was my therapy. I mean, I still like rock, but that's all I listened to up to that point, and I started listening to that, and that was it has kind of can be a tinge with anger and rebellion and let's see, rise up against the government. No, anti-government, but it would talk about things I could really at that point in time really relate to that was never talked about in a music format. So I started to listen to that, and that was, and as any, at the time I was, 18, we'd go out with friends once in a while, drinking, but I don't think, I wasn't to the point where I was an alcoholic. Just casual drinking, Yep. So that was, you just take it one day at a time. I mean, it's such a shock to life, but stuff happens. So.
I'm just thinking about this as I'm like just saying it. If you had a chance to like say something to your dad or your brothers, what would you say? Like if they could just come back.
I'll tell you, I love you. I miss you, and I'd say, Dad, I hope you're proud about what I've done with my life. I've made some mistakes, but I hope that all said and done in the end that I made you happy. I think that would be important to me. Mark and Jonathan, I guess I started thinking I'll never know what they would have looked like, as adults. I don't know. They were Kenny, who I just talked about, they were in a band with Kenny at the time of the fire. Mark was a drummer, and Johnny was a bass player. So they were a band called Iron Cross. So they were into music, and who knows what they would have, what they would have done with that if they survived. But I do wonder, I do see friends of theirs growing up, and I do wonder how they would have looked like and what kind of lives they'd be leading now, 40 years later. We'll never know, but I just view it as a temporary separation. I mean, at some point, if we're honest with ourselves, we're all going to die. We don't know of what or from what, maybe, but I believe have Jesus in our heart, that I will be reunited with my whole family someday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously, this past week was kind of tough. Obviously, it started in the summer. I think, what was it on? It was on your birthday, right?
Yes. Yep. My birthday. Yep.
Okay. That we got news that Gina was terminal with cancer. That was started in 2013, right?
2013 was the first diagnosis. Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
it was like, it's just a common. I mean, it was just like a little. What was it? 99.9% when you just remove the. What it
There was a high success rate when you have.
Thyroid,
I mean, yeah, she had cancer in her thyroid, and once they realized that, I think that was like, it was almost 7 years ago, like February of 2013, diagnosed with cancer in the thyroid. They set up a time for surgery in, I think, early April of that year to remove the thyroid. And my understanding is, 95% of the time, whatever, a high percent when the thyroid is removed, the cancer's gone. But unfortunately, that was not the case with Gina. It had spread, not that she knew it, anyone knew it, but it had spread before the thyroid was removed. Yep.
So this past week, it was, what was it, Thursday night?
Friday morning.
Thursday night.
Well, Thursday night
like
she went
super
in.
bad,
Yeah.
right?
Thursday night she was really bad this past week. Yeah.
And then she died Friday morning. What did you say to like Nana, and what did you say to like Johnny, Seth, Hannah? Because I know you were over there a while tonight, but like, what were you guys?
Well, tonight I met mostly with Dan, just talking to him, because I haven't seen Dan. Dan is Gina's husband, my brother-in-law. I have not seen him or talked to him at all since her passing. So I spent all of tonight talking to him about this, many things, many things. It was good, things we never talked about before. And Johnny, I mean, yesterday Johnny, Seth, Hannah, hug. I just hugged him, and sometimes you don't know what to say. Sometimes you just being there is just as important. So I just, I met with them Thursday night before she passed, and knew she was not doing well. So I had a chance to talk to them a little more Thursday night. Tonight wasn't as much. And I think that this is a tough time for everybody. It's difficult. It's draining physically, mentally, and so sometimes a hug's just as good as just saying too much. So yeah, it's just it's been a tough go. Yeah. But God gave her almost 9 more months. She said she was terminal back in June 6th. So here we are. End of February. So she fought hard. But unfortunately, she just couldn't keep fighting. And the Lord took her home to a better place. No more pain, no more suffering. So, just certainly a sadness.
Yeah.
No longer with us, but there's a comfort knowing that she's not struggling to live each day like she has been these last few weeks. Been really tough. So.
I'm just wondering, this is probably like a tougher question, but like, how does it feel to be like, obviously, like, I'm not like an older brother, but like, how does it feel to be an older brother and lose half your siblings, because that's usually like, that just usually doesn't happen.
Just sometimes there's some guilt that comes out of that, because I'm thinking, why did my sister get cancer, not me? How did I survive the fire and not my dad and my two brothers? So you're gonna have bit of guilt associated with that. I think what I try to do, I just try to live by example. I try to be consistent in all that I do. I try to set a good example. I try to just, whether it's a word of encouragement, advice, a helping hand. I've developed a deep faith over these years, and I think with that, I ask God every day to make the right choice, for wisdom, for strength, for guidance. As humans, I think we're bound to make mistakes, we're bound to make errors. But I think I try to take each day and use each day as an opportunity to do better than yesterday. However that may look, whether it's at work, whether it's within the family, within my church, whatever that may, whatever comes your way each day, just try to do a little bit better each day. And so I just, and don't be afraid to let your family know you love them. Saying I love you means a lot sometimes, and I think, and I think sometimes, I show it more than I say it. So I try to be mindful of that.
That's like one of the toughest things for me to say. Like, I was texting Chris about it, and it was just like I've never, like with Seth, it's like I've never been like serious / emotional with him, and it was just like hard to avoid not being that.
Right.
With Gina, it was just
it
was just different. I don't know, because it's like we're kind of always like, I don't know, it's always something that we kind of do. We're just like, whenever we meet together, like all I think about is just like just being happy.
Right. Yeah.
We'll never like go up to each other and we're just like.
Well, it's different. It's a whole new circumstance. I'm not used to it. I'm used to just going over there and just playing flashlight tag or having basketball, or whatever it may be, whatever we feel like doing. It's under a happy circumstance. This is all new territory for you and for Johnny and Hannah, Seth, and I mean Dan lost his parents, but losing a spouse, I don't, I've lost a dad and siblings. I've never lost a spouse. So, I mean, I don't, that's a whole new dimension. So it's tough because sometimes you fear it's like, what do I say? And like I think sometimes it's just sometimes a hug and just saying thinking of you and praying for you, and that's sometimes all you can say, and that is okay. And it might be enough for that person to hear at that point in time. But yeah, it's just even tying over that. You just try to the situation, what the feeling, and you just once in a while try to, I mean, laughter's important. I think humor, but you don't want to overdo it, but you try to find some light moments, and whatever that may be, however that looks, try to maybe lighten the atmosphere if you can a little bit. Sitting down with Dan tonight was great. There was just talking about various things, but there's a few things we talked about. And we both would get a little laugh at it. And that's important. And it's okay to cry, and and God wants us to laugh too at times.
Yeah.
So I think everybody handles grief differently, but unfortunately, it's a part of life.
Yeah. Okay. Kind of a closing thing, because obviously you didn't want to do this for too long, but something that I kind of thought of about, or it could be a long. I think this is gonna be a longer closing thing, but something that I kind of wanted to do, because obviously I haven't done any like podcasts since like Kobe died or anything like that, but obviously that brought light to situations that we can't control or anything like that. And I don't know, just something that I thought we could do is just say, like, you can just choose like 3 random people, or just 3 people or whatever, and just what you would say to them, like if say I don't know, like you were to die tomorrow, just absolute most random thing, like if you could say something to those people, that they could just listen to. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if like Kobe was able to say,
What 3 people would I say that to?
what 3 people would you say that? What 3 people would pick your 3 people
Yep.
and like have something that you would say to them, like not just like something simple, like something that's like actually like in theory, just
Oh,
like
jeez.
obviously you never want to think about like you're just gonna die tomorrow, like for some freak reason or whatever. But like, if you were, what would you say to those 3
Wow.
people?
What 3 people? Oh. Anyone in the history you're talking about currently now?
Currently,
Someone who's alive now.
you could say it to anyone you want.
Oh boy. Oh. That's a. What would I say to? Well, I mean, I guess mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger before. I mean, such a admire him and what he's done. I guess I would ask him. You know, he's been such a success. Is there anything he regrets doing? Is there anything he would do over again? It seems like he's been had such a successful life. Ooh. Oh boy, let me think here. Oh, you get me stumped on this one, Jack.
I'm not talking about, no, it doesn't have to be like famous people either, not even like Arnold. I'm talking about like literally like it could just be as simple as like your family. Like it doesn't like friends. Like if you were to die tomorrow and you could just pick like it doesn't like matter like who, but like it kind of does, but like 3 people, like if they were to just, if they wanted to hear what they thought of you and what they meant to you.
I just have trouble putting thoughts together on that one. You got me stumped there. I'm just
Do you
trying.
want me to go and like show you?
Well,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Why don't you just give me? Yeah. Why don't you just?
All right. Well, so I'm gonna do like the first 3 people that are on the podcast and that stuff. Geez, I can't. I'm trying not to get like emotional. All right. Let me gather myself. All right. I'm ready. All right, Eric. Obviously, I've known you since like 6th grade. Jeez, I'm getting emotional. I don't know. I remember we had that table, me, you, Ben Blizzard, in the Roach's room. Oh, God. Yikes. Alright, I remember when you had your fire.
Oh. Okay. Thank you.
How bad I felt for you and for your family. I know that he can relate to that. I know. Luckily, you guys, you didn't lose any of you, but I just, I don't think I've ever actually expressed this to you, but I know we Yikes.
Jackie.
I know we we love to mess around with you a lot just because, you just make us all feel happy. But like you said, or like he said, I don't think we say it enough, but it's like actually like how much we care, and I know you love me, I love you. I'm trying to like really connect, like if I was to just like randomly die out of nowhere, just so you guys can like see what you guys meant to me. All right, that was a short thing for Eric. Johnny, obviously, it's so hard for me to get emotional with Johnny just because like I've really just known him since sophomore year of high school. But you obviously, I don't think there's you and Eric and just a lot of other people that I can just call on you guys at any time just to make me laugh. It's I can't even really cry for Johnny just because it's just all I just think about laughing. But I'll always just remember when you started at the clan box, how I really didn't know you before then, and how we've become like really good friends because of it. Regardless of all the stupid stuff that happens at the clan box, I just thank you for always being like super fun. It's just making me always laugh. Just thank you for that. And then the next person is obviously Dan. Known you for a while. I probably just cry more if I saw pictures, but you've always been a really great friend to me, and obviously continue to. Obviously, I've known you for a while, like I said before, but you were definitely one of my earlier friends, and I'm just happy that we're obviously still just super close friends, and I know like you were talking about with your neighborhood friends. I know you weren't in our neighborhood, but we kind of had those two separate neighborhoods growing up. It was me and Ben going to Jacob's neighborhood, and then it was you and Sot. We kind of just trade neighborhoods. We would come to yours, you would come to ours. It was just just happy that we have that friendship that I don't think can be broken. So yeah, now it's your turn.
Okay. Well, all right. I think of three friends I have. The friend I've had the longest is my buddy Joe Prosser. He grew up in the neighborhood. I met him when I was 8. Joe, I love you, buddy. I know you're in Florida. I know you've got some back pain and life's been tough lately, but great talking to you yesterday. Faithful friend. You always reach out to me. Always seeing how we're doing and stuff, and you're much better than I am. I'm always late getting back to you, so I apologize for that. But I do love you, buddy. The other one is he was my best man on the Wayne, Chuck Foley. Chuck, been a great friend. I haven't seen you for a while. We didn't talk for a few years, but but we like the same type of music. We go to some shows, and it's been nice reconnecting with you. I hope you're enjoying retirement. And I hope you're feeling better. I know you've been having some health issues too, but I'm just thankful that we can still stay in touch. And then the other one is Joe Booton. Joe's, I really knew, we graduated together, but I didn't know him in high school. He didn't come, he had an unusual journey in high school. He went to 3 high schools. He went to Estes Yagi, Whittier, and then came to Ipswich High for his last year. And I knew who he was, but we weren't friends. But I get to know him. We worked together for many, many years at Softman Brothers, which is no longer there. But we developed a good friendship there. And I hope you're doing well. I haven't talked to you, but I will have to let you all know about Gina's passing. And just thank you for the friendship. And you're all unique in your own way. You all just we have different relationships. Even though we're all friends, we're friends in different levels and different areas of interest. That's what I meant to say, areas of interest, really. All the same level. Love you all. And so that helped clarify your question.
Yeah.
Exactly where you're going first.
Okay. And then this one's gonna be tough. You go. So it's gonna be us.
Oh, you and your tough questions, buddy. What is this?
You for me, and then I gotta go for you. Like you say what you would say to me, and I would say what I would say to you.
What you would say to me?
Like you're doing me now, and I'm gonna do you.
Oh, what do you have for food?
No, no.
I don't know what you. What do you mean by? What do you mean?
What do you think I mean? Like what I just did for Eric, what I did for Johnny, and what I did for Dan. But now you're doing it for me. Does that make sense?
What would I tell? Oh, if I was gonna die tomorrow, what would
Yeah.
I tell you? Oh, okay, all right. Now I get it. What I would tell you, Jack, is you've been a wonderful, wonderful young man. You've been a pleasure to see grow up. As much as I hate to see that, I wish you were 8 years old forever. But you've been a great example for other kids. I think your thoughtfulness. I think your genuine concern for your friends, and which is obvious in the emotion that you have here. Your love for them. I just think your ability to be offer encouragement to teammates. You're just kind, thoughtful. You know, have a mean bone in your body. And I hope you continue the path you're on now. You're focused. You're goal oriented. You're determined. I hope maybe as you get older you become less impulsive with various things. Learn to be content with what you have. But I just I look forward to well, if I was just saying with the thought that I was a die tomorrow, I just continue on the upward trend. Make the Norris name proud. And I just, if you ever get married, I just hope you instill the same values to your children that I hope, instilled in you. And that's the greatest joy a parent can have, is that when you raise a child and you guide and direct and you try to create a foundation, your biggest hope as a parent is that will be carried through in how you live your life. That's the greatest joy a parent can have, when you invest time and effort into raising children that you hope you shape them into positive people, the people who can make a difference in this world, and can be a light to other people. And that can look in many different ways. But it could be kind work, it can be just good deeds, and it could be whatever. But to just the people say, yeah, Jack Norris. I mean, I hear it from many people. He's such a great kid, and that means a lot to me. That means that puts a smile on my face, and it warms my heart. So keep up the good work, buddy.
All right. Jeez, it's gonna be tough. I think I was talking about it with Chris the other day. Yeah, kind of. Maybe I didn't say it to him, but I've talked about it before. I think what you went through, and obviously Nana, and Will, Josh, and Gina, no one should have ever gone through. And the way that you responded, obviously speaks a lot for, it just says the type of person you are. What type of ways you react to certain situations, like we were talking about earlier, just when you're like, I don't know, like how you deal with grief. I know you're obviously really angry, and you've asked like why, like just why did this happen? You're talking about your guilt of how you wish, or you just wonder why it wasn't you. I'm happy it wasn't you.
Oh, buddy.
All right. Wait a sec. I think growing up, you made obviously still to this day just every day just really fun. Yikes. You made every day really fun. You always found a way to make me and other people laugh. Even in like, just I don't know. Even if it's not even like a scenario that you can really find it to be funny, you can always just find a way to make people laugh. I try to do that as much as possible.
Yeah, you're getting good at that too. You're making me laugh, buddy. You're coming up. You're thinking along those lines. I like that.
Yes, I know. But whatever you call it, it just like you said. I just try to take a lot of the values that you show. And you might not always. I know you do like to stress, values and stuff like that. But just I try to pay attention to the ways that you act and try to implement that to myself. But back to childhood, I think I was so lucky to, never have to go through my parents being divorced. I never had to go through, this bad household with parents yelling at each other, alcohol problems, drug problems, anything like that. Yikes, my nose is so stuffed. But just problems like that. I was just thankful that you never did that, and you never, I know this is probably gonna just sound weird, but I'm happy that you never really drank. I'm happy that you just don't drink. And I know you always talk about how people should be able to just live life sober, just because of just how great it is to be alive.
Yeah. Well, live life. I mean, my feeling is enjoy life sober. I mean, enjoy life sober. I have many friends who can't do that, and it breaks my heart. And unfortunately, I don't have the power to fix the world. I just try to offer maybe some encouragement here and there, and just maybe a comment here and there. But I've worked with many people through the years who just, whether it's an addiction or just their life isn't such, I don't know. I don't know if they're dealing with something. But alcohol is a big part of their lives, and it's kind of sad to see. So I try to. You should be able to enjoy life straight. If you, sober, it's so important, and it's better, and it's healthier. Have a better life.
But then just go back to the childhood, just to finish it off. I think that I was so lucky to have the family that I have, and just everyone so close. That's just something that a lot of other people can't say. I know we talked about Max quite a bit, but I know his family isn't close. I'm just so thankful that, growing up, basically, I felt like, it was every single week, I was hanging out with Seth. There was a point where it was I was having sleepovers every single Friday night, and it was majority of the time it'd be Chris here, I would go over to Chris's house, and it was just so awesome to see Uncle Will, to see Julie, to see Cousin Will, to see Brody, and it just every single week. It was just, we got that at Chris's.
Yep.
We come home or whatever. He might come over here even for a double sleepover or whatever. Then we go to church, then we drop him off, and then we're at Seth's house. And it was just, I don't, not a lot of people can say that they spent every weekend basically with their family.
Yeah.
Just having fun. And I just, I cried about this before. I'm going to try to not cry about it now, but I wish I could just go back and just, I don't know, just relive that one more time. I don't know, I'm getting so emotional. It's I just wish that, it was what Gina would be, out walking after dinner or before dinner. We try to convince Hannah to not go on a walk or whatever and come play flashlight tag with us because we need the even numbers. But I just
Yeah.
I just wish that it could just be like that.
Yeah. Buddy. Yeah. Wish we could go back in time, relive it. I know.
So I don't know. Let's see.
All right, buddy. Gee, you should really put yourself to the ringer on that one, honey.
All right, well, it's still recording our voice. So, thank you guys for watching. Quite an emotional one. But it just, I don't know. I've kind of just been super emotional lately.
Tough week. A tough week, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you got super emotional in church.
Yeah.
It's just a lot to. I mean, it's kind of been like an emotional year so far. A lot of influencers have died. I know Kobe. Obviously, I wasn't that big of a fan of him, and I know you guys can't see us right now, but he's just he made an impact on the world. You know, whenever people say or reference a name for a simple activity, people do that on a global basis. You just know that you just become a huge influence. Like everyone says Kobe when they throw something in the trash, or like I don't know if you guys, I thought you do that, but like people who grew up with him being that top player, I think he's the greatest offensive player to ever live. I think he's the only person that can score whenever he wants. I know Jordan, like people could argue Jordan or other people, but like Kobe he always talks about he wasn't the fastest. He could have jumped the highest. He wasn't the most athletic. He had to use angles and, he had to use smarts. Like he always said, people were playing chess and people were playing checkers and he was playing chess. Like he was just playing the game at just an elite level. And he was. I mean, obviously he's not an average person. He was 6'6", right?
6'7", I think 6'7". No.
6'7".
So he was athletically gifted, but he just had to probably really work at some things.
Yeah, he just wasn't. He didn't have speed. He wasn't as fast as LeBron. Right. He couldn't jump as high as LeBron. Like stuff like that. Like he wasn't just naturally gifted. He had to use a lot of work, and his work ethic was just something I admire. But there's just been a lot of loss. It kind of just reflection on. The Kobe thing got me emotional, but it's just trying to apply it to like my life and just apply it to like the podcast and what ways I could just try to make it more, powerful. But this has like been a good one for me. So, any final words before I shut this off?
Any final words? Yes, I would say each day you get up, face it with enthusiasm. Face it with a plan, a vision, and continue to work to complete that vision, no matter what that looks like. And just and be kind to every person you meet, whether it's through a smile, a hug, a little simple hello. Be kind to your neighbor, and this world will be a better place.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I forgot to put this at the end of the video because, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to clear my nose. Sorry I got so emotional. I don't know, man. It was just trying to, it's just super rare to be able to capture yourself in, a mental state of, really... feeling what it would be like I was really trying to feel the emotions that I would feel if I was to this is my last day alive, and what would I say to those people. Obviously I'm going to be doing 3 people for each podcast, so just in order of the people that I've had on, and just keep doing that so you'll know what you mean to me. And I know obviously I don't touch on everything that you mean to me because that would just take way too long, but I just want to let you know that you guys mean a lot to me, And I think that's kind of something that I want to start with doing that. There's been a lot of just like sorrow, I guess, in 2020, and just also in the winter, leading into it. That I think there's a lot of times where just like say since my aunt has passed, I've been really trying to just say to people more like, I love you, like I seriously do, like you matter a lot to me. Sorry, I don't want to make this too long, but you're gonna be looking at a slideshow of just how much my dad's meant to me, and mom. Obviously, I'll have you on too for sure. But yeah, podcasts are back. I got a couple of things I want to get on Amazon, so it will improve the quality of these and make it a lot more easier to pump these out. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to having a lot more people on, having a lot more people over, getting these back out, getting these cranking. Spring's right around the corner. Let's have some fun. Yeah, man, just let people know how much they mean to you, because it does make a difference. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the little slideshow music thing that I put together. Make sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe for more content, and we'll be back.
So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.